For the first half of the 20th century, the sternwheelers of the British Yukon Navigation Company plied the upper Yukon River between Whitehorse and Dawson City. The SS Klondike was the largest of the fleet. Sitting proudly on the banks of the Yukon River in Whitehorse, she has been meticulously restored and refurnished, paying tribute to an era before roads, when riverboats and rail linked the Yukon to the outside world. The British Yukon Navigation (BYN) Company sternwheeler fleet plied the upper Yukon River between Whitehorse and Dawson City in the early 20th century. The SS Klondike was the largest sternwheeler in the fleet. Built in 1929, the ship sank in 1936, was rebuilt and launched as the SS Klondike II in spring 1937. Located on the banks of the Yukon River in Whitehorse, Yukon, and restored to its original 1937-40 appearance, the SS Klondike pays tribute to an era of riverboat transportation and the inland water transportation system that linked the Yukon to the outside world before the advent of roads. SS Klondike was the name of two sternwheelers, the second now a National Historic Site located in Whitehorse, Yukon, Canada. They ran freight between Whitehorse and Dawson City along the Yukon River, the first from 1929 to 1936 and the second, an almost exact replica of the first, from 1937 to 1950. Colorful frontier buildings line old-time boardwalks in Dawson City. Saloons, kinking girls and a vintage sternwheeler intertwine the present with 1898 Klondike Gold Rush days when some 50,000 gold seekers stampeded north. Visit the goldfields, a barren landscape of dreams, followed by a game of croquet at the elegant commissioner's residence. Explore a famed poet's historic log cabin or a European-style theatre and experience a magical northern outpost under the midnight sun. Klondike I was built by the British Yukon Navigation Company, a subsidiary of the Whitehorse and Yukon Route Railway Company, in 1929 and had the distinction of having 50% more capacity than a regular sternwheeler, while still having the shallow draft and meeting the size requirements in order to travel down the Yukon River. Klondike I had a cargo capacity of 270 metric tons without having to push a barge. Klondike I ran aground in June 1936 north of the 30-mile section of the Yukon River, at 61 degrees 40'17" and 134 degrees 52'22" W. The company salvaged the ship's boiler, engines and many fittings to build Klondike II the following year. The hull of the SS Klondike I can still be seen at low water by canoeists on the Yukon River. Klondike II carried freight until the early 1950s. Due to the construction of a highway connecting Dawson City and Whitehorse, many Yukon River sternwheelers were decommissioned. In an attempt to save Klondike II, she was converted into a cruise ship. The venture shut down in 1955 due to lack of interest, and Klondike II was left on the ways in the Whitehorse shipyards. The ship was donated to Parks Canada and was gradually restored until 1966, when city authorities agreed to move the ship to its present location, at that time part of a squatter's area. The task required 3 bulldozers, 8 tons of palm olive soap, a crew of 12 men, and 3 weeks to complete. Greased log rollers eased the process. On the 24th of June 1967, the SS Klondike was designated a National Historic Site of Canada, 1, and she is now open during the summer as a tourist attraction. SS Klondike National Historic Site hours of operation, 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Buy tickets in advance on Viator. If you book with Viator, you can cancel at least 24 hours before the start date of your tour for a full refund. The best ways to experience SS Klondike National Historic Site are: Aurora hunting, the fascinating northern lights from various perspectives. Yukon summer dream, active summer adventure, 5 days. Arctic tundra and Dawson City, naturally wild. Yukon Gold Experience featuring Emerald Lake and Carcross. This sternwheeler greets most visitors as they enter our city. It represents an age when the city of Whitehorse served a major function as the transportation hub of this entire region, taking miners, their families, and those who wished to take advantage of the gold rush to the Klondike. This sternwheeler may be toured today. Easy access and RV parking. SS Klondike II. Facts and specifications. The SS Klondike II was launched in Whitehorse in May of 1937. It is owned by the British Yukon Navigation Company, Whitepass and Yukon Route, and its port of registry is Dawson City, Yukon Territory. As well as passengers, the SS Klondike also hauled cargo. Shipments downstream from Whitehorse to Dawson carried general cargo of fuel and food, and shipments upstream from Dawson to Whitehorse brought silver lead ore. Traveling downstream took approximately 1.5 days, and upstream trips took 4-5. Today, Parks Canada offers a self-guided tour option for those visiting the SS Klondike, and private tourism operators offer guided tours of the SS Klondike. For further information, please visit the Parks Canada website. Official No. 156,744. Length, 64 meters, 210. Width, 12.5 meters, 419. Molded depth, 1.5 meters, 5.75. Loaded draft, 1 meter, 40 inches. Light draft, 6 meters, 24 in. Gross tonnage, 1,226.25 tons, 1,362.5 tons. Registered tonnage, 918.45 tons, 1,020.5 tons. Cargo capacity, 270 tons, approximately 300 tons. Crew, 23, in 1940. Passengers, 75, LSD and second class. Engines, 2 compound jet condenser type producing 525 HP. Boiler, locomotive type. Fire tube, manufactured at the Poles Iron Works, Toronto, 1901. Previously used in steamer Yukon and SS Klondike No. 1, working pressure: 129.4 kilograms per square centimeter, minus 184 pounds per square inch.